What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And we have a ton of stuff to talk about in today's episode, so let's get into it. Our first topic is about Splinter Cell. What happened to Splinter Cell, guys? And that is the first topic of our show here today. A game and a series that I have absolutely loved. We've made content on the YouTube channel up to this point on Splinter Cell and kind of like the future of Splinter Cell. But what really happened to this game, and will Ubisoft at some point or another bring it back? So let's talk about it. If we look on as far as articles and places in which have been talking about Splinter Cell in particular, you can look no further than Forbes, who wrote an article. Eric Kane over at Forbes wrote an article stating Ubisoft is teasing a new Splinter Cell game. It's been 6 years since a Splinter Cell game came out, an entire console generation. Now Ubisoft is teasing what very well could be a new game in the stealth action series. On Ubisoft's Spanish Twitter account, the company posted a tweet which translated, "It is necessary to understand the darkness in order to face it," of course showing an image of Sam Fisher. And of course Sam Fisher is the protagonist of the Splinter Cell games. I suppose this could be a tweet about a remaster or remake, but Ubisoft isn't quite as prone to those as many other publishers. Ubisoft is the king of sequels. Splinter Cell Blacklist came out in 2013, a time before almost all of Ubisoft's games started to feel quite so samey. Nowadays, Ghost Recon and Far Cry and Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and The Division all share so much open world DNA, one imagines any new Splinter Cell likely going the same route. Games like Rainbow Six Siege give me hope, however. That game is about as far removed from the Ubisoft formula as you can get. Perhaps a new Splinter Cell will ditch the formula as well and stick with what makes these games so fun. Strong mission design and great stealth. So before we even go any farther, guys, that very last sentence that was stated here. Strong mission design and great stealth. What happened in my eyes, guys, when it comes to the Splinter Cell series, and we said this already on multiple occasions, but Splinter Cell Blacklist, what they did there was they went away from what made the game so great, and that being like stealth oriented and, strong mission design. Not saying that Blacklist didn't have any stealth whatsoever, but when you really think about it, Splinter Cell as a whole is all about the stealth. It's about great story. And of course, it kind of evolved to having, great co-op elements to it as well. Multiplayer is something that we're kind of still waiting to see a really good addition to the franchise. But Blacklist was taking us in the direction of action orientation, as far as from a standpoint of they wanted to make Splinter Cell, it seemed, more of an action game than a stealth game, because that was kind of the trend at the time in 2013. Lots of games coming out were more so based around, action adventure, and those were the games that were really popular. But what made Splinter Cell so great was that stealth genre, really. I mean, it was kind of one of those, it almost, transcended the stealth genre in gaming, and I think a lot of us want to see the continuation of this franchise. I mean, it's just one of those things, guys, that I think all of us want to see a continuation of it, and why not? It's almost like, when people say, why do we need another Splinter Cell? It's like, why not have another Splinter Cell? It's such a great series. And sure, Blacklist, we don't want that to be the very last game that everyone thinks of when you think of Splinter Cell. You want something that kind of, if Splinter Cell and Sam Fisher's story is over, you want it to go out with a bang. And when you think about it, to me, his story is definitely not over yet. as of now, this is the only thing I've seen with regards to a new Splinter Cell, and it's curious to see it come from this particular Twitter account rather than Ubisoft's main account. Hopefully we'll know more very soon. Weirdly enough, it turns out that this image is from the Ghost Recon Wildlands Splinter Cell crossover from a while back. Whether that means Ubisoft is just messing with us or something else entirely remains to be seen. Maybe Eric, as well as a lot of us, just want to continue to believe, and I agree 100% with this. We want to believe that there is going to be another Splinter Cell game. And I believe that there is, guys, at some point or another. I believe what really ultimately happened, though, to Splinter Cell, guys, was when you really look at this as a franchise, was doing so well, and then all of a sudden with Blacklist, when that came out, the negative reaction from fans and even some critics and such alike was that they're going away from the formula, similar to what happened with Dead Space. So it was a horror game, and they kind of moved into this action kind of genre. They wanted to move into an action-based game, and it just didn't hit well for a lot of people out there. And so I want to see them come back better than ever with another Splinter Cell. And if you look at Splinter Cell as a whole, guys, you can look at that Splinter Cell, as far as the games are concerned, I mean, started in 2002. And we had games almost, for a number of years, guys. We had new games coming out. I mean, you look at 2002, you had the first Splinter Cell, then Pandora Tomorrow in 2004, so 2 years later. Then you had Chaos Theory a year after that. And then you had Essentials, followed by Double Agent in 2006. And then Conviction was a number of years after that, which was in 2010. And then, of course, Blacklist. And so what I'm getting at here is not only have there, it's been a long time since we saw a Splinter Cell, and you could kind of see that, at first, I mean, they were bringing out incredible games. I mean, the golden ages of this franchise, I mean, you could say even the first Splinter Cell, but really from Pandora Tomorrow all the way to Conviction, you had all those years of incredible Splinter Cell titles, and then all of a sudden we got Blacklist, which, look, it's a step in the wrong direction, but they've had all these years to kind of get it right and try to, kind of put the series into the right direction. I think that we're probably going to see a new Splinter Cell on the next generation consoles at some point or another. I think Ubisoft, part of it's also that Ubisoft is focused so much more on Assassin's Creed and the Far Cry series, as well as even Watch Dogs. You could even, say, Rainbow Six as well. I mean, there's a number of games that they're kind of prioritizing over Splinter Cell, which is really unfortunate. I think part of it has to do with Splinter Cell being mainly a single-player experience instead of like a full kind of package where it's like a single-player and a multiplayer all wrapped up, which I think they could do that. They could make it a single-player co-op multiplayer. I think they could certainly do that with Splinter Cell, and I think Ubisoft has what it takes to do that. I think that really at this point, though, they are more focused on some of their other bigger IPs, even though Splinter Cell was a pretty big IP back in the day. But let me know what you guys think about this. For a series that not only has novels made, there's been talks of actual live action movie coming out, and then of course rumors of a sequel coming out to Blacklist for many years. What do you guys think about the future of Splinter Cell? What do you guys think happened? Do you think it was Blacklist was the kind of the reason why the series has been on a hiatus? Or do you think that, Sam Fisher's kind of story is pretty much over? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And for more Splinter Cell news, content, and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Payday is a franchise, guys, that I think a lot of people have kind of come and gone in a number of ways. There's obviously been a lot of, diehard fans of the Payday franchise, but I also think that a lot of us have kind of come and gone to Payday. We've, played Payday 2, and we've come back at certain points in time. At this point, though, it feels that Payday, it does have a fan base and a strong fan base at that, that really loves Payday 2 and is excited about the future. Here's the thing, though, is the big question has been, where's Payday 3? Because Payday 2, obviously, for its time, the graphics and even so, a lot of those heists and such were actually very good in my opinion. And I've even come back and I've come back to Payday 2 a number of times to play some of the heists, and just, it was a great game to play with your friends. Kind of just got a little bit, slow and stale at times after a while, after you did, so many heists. That being said, though, what is the future of this franchise? And where is Payday 3 at this point? So we're going to talk about that here in this segment of the show. And in an article that was written by Michael McWhirter from Polygon, Payday 3 is coming by 2023, Starbreeze says. Financially strained studio outlines its next 4 years. And before we even get, any further than that, this is a company, guys, that has been financially strained for a number of years. I mean, a long time. And that might be a huge reason why Payday 3 hasn't seen the light of day in a number of years now. And that's that we'll kind of have to, talk more about that as we go through this article. So, Starbreeze Studios says it expects to release its next full Payday game by 2023, but it may come sooner than that according to a financial release from the Swedish developer, which pencils in a 2022-2023 release window for Payday 3. As part of ongoing restructuring at the studio, Starbreeze outlined its estimated cash flow for the next 4 years. Starbreeze said it expects to finalize a publishing agreement for Payday 3 in the first half of 2020 and secure financing to develop the game. Starbreeze said it expects the same arrangement for continued development of Payday Crime War, the mobile version of its heist-themed shooter series. Starbreeze previously said that Payday 3 was already in production years ago. In 2017, studio CEO Bo Anderson Clint said, "It is with great satisfaction that we also can announce that Payday 3 production is officially initiated and at a full design stage. But Clint stressed patience. It will be done when it's done. You simply don't rush Payday 3. The previous game in the series, Payday 2, was initially released in 2013 on PlayStation 3, Windows PC, and Xbox 360. The game has since been ported to Linux, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One, with the most recent version for Nintendo Switch arriving in February 2018. So guys, Payday 2 came out a while ago. I mean, when you look at this, it came out in 2013. That's a number of years ago. We're going on almost a decade since this game came out. And, obviously we've been hearing rumblings of a Payday 3 back in 2017, but still 3 years later, we don't have anything to really show for it. Obviously, Overkill, they have, of course, kind of teased certain things, that being like the Payday Royale, the Battle Royale mode of Payday, which was pretty much an April Fool's joke. But the thing about it, though, guys, is that we haven't really heard a lot recently, very recently, about this upcoming title, Payday 3, because I think that Starbreeze, they still might be trying to get all of the financing and all of those things in order to kind of greenlight this project. In December 2018, Starbreeze Studios filed for restructuring amid a financial downturn for the company. In its press release on Friday, Starbreeze said reconstruction work is continuing. The company intends to present a reconstruction plan shortly. Starbreeze also notes that its financial plan is not a forecast, but merely a cash flow estimate to enable creditors to form an opinion about the future repayment ability of Starbreeze. So, look. The thing about it is, guys, is that this company is in a very interesting situation, because the thing about Payday is that at this very point, this game should have already come out probably a year or so ago, right? At least we should have had it, by now. But because of a financially strained studio, that being Starbreeze, I think that it's really delaying the process here. Do I think we're going to get a Payday 3 eventually? I do believe that, because Payday 2, it sold well, and I think a Payday 3 would sell pretty well, especially depending on how they would do it, especially if they were to make it like free to play or something along those lines. I think that it would absolutely be huge. It could be a very big move for Starbreeze. But at the same time, You just don't know if they're going to get that financial backing that they need. And if they don't, then we're never going to see a Payday 3 unless they sell the IP to another, publisher. And that would be very interesting. That's another conversation for another day. But I would love to hear from all of you guys. What do you guys think about this? Would you guys want to see a Payday 3 apparently coming out in 2023 or at some point in the foreseeable future? Would you want Starbreeze to be the ones publishing it? Do you think they should sell the rights at this point because of the finances? Do you think that they're going to be able to get the finances that they need to make a good enough game? That's a whole nother question as well. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. And for all upcoming Payday 3 news and content, stick with us right here on Zero TV. So believe it or not, guys, there was a time in my gaming ventures back on, the original Xbox into the Xbox 360 where I enjoyed the Mafia games more than Grand Theft Auto. I know GTA, obviously 2K Games are the ones who publish both, the Grand Theft Auto games as well as the Mafia games, but there was something about these Mafia games that really, I just really enjoyed. I don't know if it was that older kind of feel, that real like gangster kind of mentality, but back, back in the 60s or, whatever time period that you were playing, those games in. Something about it was just really just satisfying to me. It was just a really enjoyable experience. I had so much fun with the first Mafia. Mafia 2 I thought was even better than the first one. And then the third one I thought was the worst in the series. Like I thought it was kind of a step backwards. I still thought it was good though, but nothing really can take away those first couple of games, from me, those experiences I first had with those games. Well, anyway, what happened to the Mafia series? Because it's been something that I've been actually thinking about quite a bit, and I've had people ask me, hey, do you know any information about when we might see another Mafia game? Well, did a little bit of some digging, guys, and you don't have to look too far to hear some new, leaks and rumors and things of that nature revolving around Mafia 4, a game in which we might even get before we even see GTA 6. So let's talk about it. In an article, guys, that was written by Katrina Zyka from Segment Next, there is a new Mafia 4 leak which suggests a new protagonist and a 2021 release date. A huge leak about Mafia 4 and the state of its development surfaced yesterday, containing vital information about Hangar 13's next project. The Mafia franchise is far from over, with the fourth installment being well in development with a potential release date of 2021. The leaker, Reddit user The Truth Teller 1985, claims that his sources are ex-developers for the project as well as one journalist. While this is a credible lead, this is nothing more than one man's information, so take everything we state below with a grain of salt. And that's very important, guys. What I will say is that obviously, this is not 100% confirmed by Hangar 13 yet. However, I think that there's a pretty good track record here as far as, certain claims that the Truth Teller 1985 has made, but also the simple fact, guys, that a lot of this stuff makes sense. It makes sense that this would be a release date in, 2021. Also having a new protagonist, I think that's a great idea, and I think that they know from Mafia 3, not that we didn't enjoy all the characters and stuff, but I think we want to, maybe get another take, breathe some fresh life into the game. I think that's something that, a lot of us Mafia fans would like. Mafia 4 has started its initial prototyping as soon as all DLC for the third game were over, according to the leak. Back then, Hangar 13 dropped the project to work on a new IP, which unfortunately didn't work out. A small team was working on Mafia 4 in Brighton, coming up with an ambitious prototype that managed to catch the team's attention, and since then, most of the studio is working on it. This doesn't fall far behind from what we know, since only 2 months ago, Hangar 13 filed trademarks for Mafia. The story onto the game itself now. The leak suggests that Mafia 4 will be set in Las Vegas in the 70s and will be a straight sequel to Mafia 3. So, really quick, Las Vegas in the 70s, guys, would be absolutely incredible. I believe it would be amazing. Now, straight sequel, I want to kind of know, like, okay, which characters are coming back? Which characters are we going to be playing as? Are we only playing as one character? I'm assuming we're probably going to play as one character. I kind of would like to know those things. Obviously, we're going to be know more information as it comes. But I'll just say about the setting, Las Vegas in the 70s, guys, I think would be incredible. I think it would be an amazing open world scenario, being able to explore Las Vegas in the 70s. Guys, that is a match made in heaven, in my opinion. It'll be very interesting to see if that's going to be true. You are back in the Italian Mob, this time as a new character with no words of any old faces making a return. Motion capture has started 8 to 9 months ago, so the studio is going the extra mile for the needed realism. Last but not least, Hangar 13 won't follow the flashback storytelling that we were used to, and instead it will adapt a present-day plot. Everyone wants to know about the Mafia 4 map. In terms of setting, the Mafia 4 map will be bigger, and its setting will span across a whole decade. In that time, you'll be able to use an empire building system that will let you buy out, build, and transform buildings into casinos and more. See, that sounds so sick. So I always felt that Mafia was such a great idea from from the roots of it in the very first Mafia that came out. But I thought that they were kind of slowly building on things. I really thought that Mafia 3 should have been one of the, kind of had this idea where it was kind of like this empire building system. Similar to like what with Watch Dogs Legion, what they've been talking about and how that is going to be, somewhat similar to this, where you're kind of building an empire of like a bunch of rebels and such. This is almost like you're building a empire, like a mafia empire essentially, and it'll be really interesting to see. Are they going to be adding like a multiplayer to this, or multiplayer components, co-op modes, things of that nature, to really keep us coming back to the game? Because that was the other big thing about Mafia that it didn't have on a game like Grand Theft Auto. It was a great idea, great concept. I thought it was even a better story than some of the Grand Theft Auto games. But the problem with it was, what is going to get me to come back to the game? And there was really nothing like that. There wasn't really like a progression system. There wasn't much there to get you to come back to the game, other than, coming back to play some of the, of course, side missions after beating all of the main story. Now, of course, with Mafia 3, there was, of course, added on DLC and things of that nature. But I would like to see an extension of that with Mafia 4. So the gameplay, according to the leak, the Mafia engine has been redone and remastered to be ready for the fourth game, so that most of the issues that were present in Mafia 3 won't be the case with that one. That means that missions won't follow the same dull procedure as before. The project is ambitious, and that means better and in-depth gameplay. Now, the release date, guys, obviously, don't expect Mafia 4 to release for this generation of consoles. If the leak is to be trusted, then it will be released in 2021. Given the back and forth with its development team, it wouldn't surprise us if the project is still very early in development. And I agree with that. I think that it's probably still somewhat early in development, guys. And I'm okay with Hangar 13 taking their time. Like, look, take your time on this game. Make it incredible. Add everything, have everything ready to rock and roll at launch, so that we can experience the main story mode, which is the pretty much most important thing with a Mafia game. And then also have like co-op modes, and have even possibly a multiplayer, like a Mafia Online, similar to like Grand Theft Auto Online or Red Dead Online. Like, have something like that where there's more ways that we can connect with the franchise, because I think that's something that a lot of us would be very interested in. Is, you've got a lot of games nowadays where a lot of it's like slightly futuristic or modern. We don't have a lot of games that are like from back in, the 70s, where, with like multiple ways that we can connect with that within that world. And that's why I think that this could be really special. Now, a Mafia 2 remaster would be huge, guys. If this is, if what this leak is stating is true, this could be huge. Closing up the leak, we find out that there might be a Mafia 2 remaster in the works. One small inside Hangar 13 set in Czech is working on a remaster for Mafia 2 using the Mafia 4 engine. If that's true, then its release won't take as much as the next games, and we might get to play it sometime next year. Summing up, we have Mafia 4 releasing in 2021 with a new protagonist and a much more ambitious gameplay system. Mafia 2 is getting a remaster sometime before that, and both are using a new version of the existing engine suitable for large-scale projects that can take the franchise to the next level. So if this leak is true, guys, this could be huge. I mean, Mafia's got some great graphics. I love the graphics of Mafia. I think it's always been pretty good with its time, and it's a very exciting open world game. It really is. I absolutely love the Mafia series. Like I said, I thought Mafia 3 was a little bit of a step in the wrong direction. However, it still felt like Mafia, just in a kind of a little bit edgier. I'd like to get that like gritty Mafia feel once again, and I think that we might get that with this game. Now, as far as the release date goes, guys, I think that 2021, it sounds great on paper. However, I feel like don't expect that. We're probably going to get some delays at some point or another. At this point, guys, where has, what happened to Mafia? I think what happened was, guys, I think obviously from what we were talking about, Hangar 13 was working on another project. Who knows what that project was? To start working on this, because there was obviously a small team that was working on it. They had some good ideas, and it looks like the entire studio is rallying behind it. So I think when you hear that they're all rallying behind something, that kind of screams to me that, look, they might have something special here. So I'm willing to wait as long as it takes for Hangar 13 to get it right, and I'm excited about this game. I really am, guys. I mean, this could be incredible, but we might be able to play Mafia 4 before we get to play GTA 6, and that's a possibility as well. We have no release date on either of these games. What do you guys think about Mafia? What do you guys think of it in comparison to games like Grand Theft Auto or other open world games? What do you guys think about it? I would love to hear in the comment section below, and for everything related to Mafia 4, and to whether that is new videos or news that comes out about Mafia 4, stick with us here on Zero TV. Another game and franchise that I would love to see a continuation of is The Darkness. If you guys ever played The Darkness, this was such a unique game, and actually a couple of games that came out that really had some very interesting concepts and really had some very dark themes, but had a very interesting story nonetheless. The Darkness, guys, of course, was developed by Starbreeze Studios, and then of course was published by 2K Games. And this was a game that was released back in 2007, and actually did pretty good as far as, when we talk about the, overall, what people thought of the game. A lot of people thought it was very unique for what it was, and a lot of people really did enjoy it. People thought that it was very dark, that you were, kind of eating people's hearts, and, it was a very, dark kind of game, but it's called The Darkness, and I thought that it was a really interesting concept, and it should have been able to really coexist within the rest of gaming. And then you had The Darkness 2, guys, that of course was released in 2012. This one was developed by Digital Extremes, and then it was published by 2K Games once again. And from this point, guys, from 2012 to now, we haven't heard anything about a potential sequel, at least a conclusion to this franchise. We got 2 games, and they were 2 solid games in my opinion, but then we never got a third game. So where at this point is Darkness 3? I think, guys, if you kind of break this down, I think that it was kind of a niche sort of game just because the darkness and it was had those dark themes and things of that nature. And I think that, 2K was probably thinking to themselves that there's a ton of other IPs that they would want to rather, kind of spend their time on and their resources on instead of the Darkness series. Also, Digital Extremes, guys, who were the developers of The Darkness 2, they were the ones who ended up, doing Warframe, which is the free-to-play multiplayer game. They're actually developers of Warframe, and they also did, of course, BioShock and BioShock 2 and Homefront, all of their multiplayer games. And that was something that was very interesting as well. They are a company that looks like they are primarily focused on really working on Warframe at this point. So it doesn't seem like there's anything else that's really cooking up that they're thinking about bringing back some of these things, that being like Unreal Tournament, You look at the BioShock, the first couple of BioShock games, and then, of course, Homefront, and then, you had Warframe and Star Trek. So when I look at this, and it's like, okay, they're the guys who were developing it. They're probably not going to be working on a Darkness 3 at any point in the future. I don't think that they're going to be coming back to it. That's just my personal opinion. I think they would have been working on it a lot sooner if that was something there was potential there. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to 2K games. If they want to make this, bring this back to like the next generation of consoles, if they want to make this something that, people can play, that enjoyed the Darkness, I would like to just see the Darkness 3 because it would kind of conclude the trilogy at least. And you could, I think there's something special there because this franchise, even though you got 2 games and they were unique for what they were. Sure, they were dark, but just they were something that where they took a lot of risks with it as far as the developers and the publishers with this franchise. But it really did have a very interesting story to it and some dark elements, but some light elements as well. I thought it was a really great couple of games that really I believe should coexist within gaming as a whole. So Digital Extremes, guys, I don't think that there's any chance that they're the ones that are going to be making it. And at this point, I think the Darkness 3 is just kind of put on the back burner for 2K games. They're just thinking to themselves, they have so many other IPs that are going to make them a lot of money over time. And the Darkness might not necessarily be one of those games. I would love to see them sell the Darkness IP to a developer that really is excited about a game like The Darkness and maybe do it as a soft reboot or make a Darkness 3. I would really like to see something like that. I would love to, see, just a developer that's trying to really get their name out there. With a franchise like The Darkness, they could very well, might be able to do that, especially if they add some new elements to it, continue onwards with having a full package, right? Co-op modes, multiplayer modes, and a really exciting story, but edgy story. I think it could really go somewhere. And The Darkness, guys, it's a game that I would certainly play. I really enjoyed the first 2. I thought they were a lot of fun. And sure, you don't really come back to it, over and over again. You play it maybe a couple of times through. But if they added more more things to do, of course, within the game, like that being like co-op modes, and I know that The Darkness 2 did have some multiplayer elements to it, but if they added more of a fleshed out multiplayer as well as, like some co-op modes, I think that they could really have something there in The Darkness. I mean, sure, it's going to be niche, right? But at the same time, it still could be something that really a community that enjoyed The Darkness for what it was. You could really start seeing something, it could be something special for at least that community. And I would love to hear from you guys, though. What do you guys think about The Darkness? Would you want to see a continuation of the franchise? You hear what I'm saying? I'm saying, please, I would love to see a continuation of The Darkness, kind of like I'd like to see a continuation of Dead Space and games that have those like horror elements to them. I think there's something really special about those games that are very unique. And so that's where I think, where I stand with The Darkness. And where is The Darkness 3? I think right now, guys, it's just on the back burner for 2K. They're just not really even thinking about The Darkness at this point. I'd like to see them sell the IP or at least utilize it in one way or another. Why not? It's still, it was still a strong brand when they were bringing these games out. That's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, guys, I would love to hear from all of you. What do you guys think about The Darkness? Would you want to see The Darkness 3? And for any future updates as well as videos and content based around The Darkness 3, stick with us right here on Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.